Alrighty, here we go then. Boost Mobile Gold Coast 500 Friday press conference time. We've got Shane Van Gisbergen topping the times today. He'll be joined by Chaz Mostert and Jack LeBrock in a couple of tricky practice sessions out there today. Your thoughts, Shane, on those two sessions in general? Just the first one, there was a few stoppages and it just took its time to get going, and then that one, a wet, dry sort of 30-minute blast. How did the day pan out?
Yeah, all the plans went out the window, I guess, when it rained 30 seconds before going. But, just difficult not being able to do continuous running and the track always changing. But, I think we did okay in the end. But obviously we wanted to try a few more things, but everyone would be the same.
Are you feeling on the car and the balance and the package that you've got to fight with, both as a quali car and a race car?
Yeah, when I don't get a curb strike, it's pretty good. So I guess it's the same for everyone as well.
Yeah, you thought that was going to be a bit of a talking point. Is that shaping up like that?
Yeah, there's no point going on. Just copy and paste the quotes from last year.
Championship-wise, it's sort of playing on your mind at all? A bit of a different scenario coming in as the hunter instead of the hunted? Yeah,
as I said yesterday, Brody has to have a problem, which I'm not going to wish that upon anyone. So I just need to do my best and be up front every race, score as many points as possible, and hopefully we go to Adelaide Sunday with a chance. But yeah, he's got a pretty decent lead.
All right, thank you, mate.
Cool.
Chaz, obviously there's been a couple of changes to the Mustangs. Was it difficult to get a read on if any of that has made much of a difference from the driving seat today?
Yeah, 100%. It's really hard to really try to judge it around here compared to the track we just came from. So completely between Bathurst and here, completely different. I can't really comment too much on it, to be honest. So yeah, I was surprised that last lap to be up here. The conditions are pretty tricky. But like Shane said, everyone's kind of dealing with the same thing. So, we had a list of things to try throughout the sessions. We still did them, but a little bit hard to get a read on. So, it looks pretty tight at the top, so that's pretty promising. And, it's going to be pretty interesting qualifying tomorrow because me personally, I don't feel that confident out there. I haven't had a lot of dry laps today. And even when you're changing lines, it's still offline, it's still a bit wet as well. So, it's still fun sliding around, trying to commit with the car, and today WAU gave me something that I felt a bit more confident than I have the last couple of rounds anyway. So,
And you had your moments out there too, a couple of little scrapes, as usually happens at this place?
Yep. Yeah, generally practice 1, 2, and quali and race, and all of them, they'll leave more marks. So, by the end of the weekend, my white Optus car won't be so white. It'll have some stripes on it.
How are these cars taking those little hits compared to the old cars, those little rubs? You get a tyre bundle, and does it change steering? Does it mess with it too much?
I hadn't really hit too many bundles. I've obviously scraped a few concrete walls, but the guards are so big on these things now that I think they're quite nice to actually use against up the fence. So obviously I tickled it today. I wouldn't want to probably hit it any harder, that's for sure. But quality tomorrow, we'll see how we go.
Okay. JLB, Truck Assist Racing today. How did your day play out, mate, with the wet and dry?
Similar to the other boys, really. We didn't really know what we're going to get, especially going into that last one. So everyone's rushing around, bolting a wet setup in, back to a dry setup. There was stuff going left, right and centre. But, we sort of stuck to what we could do and got through what we needed to. It was one of those things as well. The track was changing, so every time we went out there. It was good. I think we're not far away, but it's going to be the same thing, just trying to get a lap together with these curb strikes and trying to stay off them and see what we get tomorrow.
A Gen 3 car around Surfers Paradise. What's the biggest difference you've noticed today compared to last year?
Biggest thing is I think these cars, I don't obviously ride the curbs as well. Speaking for myself anyway. I think that's the other thing, popping out the beach chicane, sort of whether you're actually going to pop out the other side in one piece or not is probably the biggest thing I took away from today. But they're a bunch of fun still. They move around a lot. Just hopefully have a nice fast car tomorrow and see how we go.
Do you feel like, I forget who it was, maybe Will Brown said that he found the curbs at the beach chicane were sort of self-policing. If you took too much of it, you were flying too far off it. So did you feel sort of similar, that it was sort of kind of looks after itself over that side of the track?
Yeah, slightly. Still hasn't helped me. I'm still seem to be setting them off every second lap. So, I think you can probably it's still quicker to take more, and you are getting penalised for it with the cuts. But it's such a fine line. It's hard to actually, probably harder than what we had previously. I'm finding anyway, without the tyre bundles there, you can sort of drive to that, and more so feel where you are with the car when you do clip them. You sort of get a good idea on where you're at. It's interesting. It's just going to be hard to try and put a lap together tomorrow, and obviously want to try and step that up and obviously try and carry a bit more speed into both those chicanes, but that's going to be the biggest thing, trying to make sure you get through.
Okay, mate. Thank you. We'll open it up to our journos.
Chaz, actually, just to touch on your opinion on, like, do you feel you're getting a read on the curbs, sort of the sensors, or do you feel it's a bit unpredictable? I mean, what do you sort of made of it so far?
Well, in my car, when I've kind of question marked myself if I had a hop, I've got a hop. So I haven't, in those 2 practice sessions, I haven't kind of run across it and thought that I've been fine and then ended up with a hop. So maybe I'm just using way too much and then maybe not enough. But, like JLB said, the cars are definitely hitting a lot harder here this year. I don't know. It's one of those things that the beach chicane is really kind of weird for me. Like the last right that I seem to have a massive snap in the wheel and then try to drive it out and kind of obviously making some good little action shots out there. So we'll see what happens as the track rubbers up will be the biggest thing. The wet, dry. Normally we'd have a whole Friday of supports running through and this track cleaning up. But yeah, I don't think the grip level's really at the track at this stage of the weekend yet to where we are either. So from the first session today, we obviously did that procedure run, and like the dust and the sand coming off the car was unbelievable. So it definitely the practice 1, practice 2 definitely got a little bit better, but I still wouldn't say from a Friday night sitting here that the track's in the best condition. And
actually, on the procedure run, you did the 8:30 or whenever it was this morning, and then the practice 2. Did that work okay? From a driver's side, the CY.
Both sessions were exactly the same in my car, so I don't know if anyone else reported that the systems weren't working, but it's a very similar system to overseas. I mean, obviously, I think a big yellow bar at the bottom, we could probably make that look a little bit nicer from a spectacle point of view if we're using camera eyes and stuff in the helmet. And some of us drivers, maybe just talking about myself, but fall asleep under those conditions a little bit. So if we could make the dash change in a certain point of when it is going to count down from 5 seconds to release, to kind of show us a little bit different spectacle than just being under that full course yellow procedure. So personally, it seems to be working.
Shane, so you ended up a 10.6, which I think the quality lap record's a 10.0 here. So I mean, the cars don't sound like they handle amazingly the curbs and stuff, but they're still relatively quick here. Like, are you surprised the pace sort of in the car?
I don't really know how to answer that. Yeah.
Well, how is the car handling, the whole circuit? Obviously, it's a very different car.
Yeah, like they feel fine. It's just all about the curbs. Like that lap that I did, the 10.6, I was like, oh, that was a cut, and then no cut. So, I'll carry on with it. Like, it's just so random. So, yeah, it's all qualifying. I think it's just going to be luck.
JLB, maybe a curly one for you, but with next year and obviously where you're heading, do you find yourself cheering for Erebus in their kind of battle, I guess, that they got going on with Shane and Triple Eight?
Don't know. I'll answer the same as what Shane just said. He doesn't know how to answer it. No, it's one of those things. I think the boys will have a jolly old time and give it a dip, and whatever happens, happens.
Just to go back to the full course yellow, firstly, Jack, your thoughts then on how the process works from those 2 test sessions you did?
Yeah, I think it was actually pretty decent. I did this morning one as well, and across both of them, it seemed to work pretty well. It was easy enough to turn it on and off. Obviously, it'd be nicer when it's on the steering wheel eventually when they adapt that. But other than that, I think it probably served its purpose, and in and out of the pits and all those bits and pieces did its job.
So for you and for Chaz, just then the philosophy of having that sort of system, would it be a good idea for supercars to implement?
Oh, I think so. Look, if we go back to the start of the year where, was it you, Jack, at Grand Prix?
Yeah.
We got cars passing a car in the fence at 200 k an hour, you know what I mean? So it's all about being safer, and I feel like other categories around the world have already implemented that. So I came from the Spa 24 hour with a very similar system there through day and night, and it was pretty flawless, except there was probably a little bit less clearer rules under what that 15 seconds racing kind of does. So there was a massive crash at Spa, but it was because one driver was trying to take advantage of the 15-second countdown to pass another car. So as long as there's clarity around that and what we're supposed to do in that as a full course yellow comes up, and we'll all learn to get around it. But it's obviously for a safety thing. Like, we don't want to be doing what we did at Grand Prix, because one little slip up and we might not all be here.
Chaz, I had a listen to the Motorsport News podcast this week, and there was an interview with James Taylor, and in that he said that you've sort of taken on the pseudo role of taking care of the driving group at the moment. There's no real official association for the Drivers Association, but do you feel like that's your role now, and that you are going to maybe play a role in what that rule might be for next year?
There's no real solo type role. I feel like Shane probably a couple of rounds ago probably stepped back from being one of the 4 drivers, and the way he talks about particular things and words things is we're definitely losing a pretty strong voice in there in that point of view, and obviously getting one of the best race car drivers in the world's opinion. So I'd say the last couple of rounds we're definitely missing Shane in those definitely 4 guys that talk it out. But from a drivers group point of view, and it doesn't matter who's representing, I feel like there's always a channel there to reach out and try and make things. So anything that gets raised up, if from a driver's point of view, we'd like to pass on to James Taylor. I can only talk highly of James and crew and Beardo, and at least hearing us out. Sometimes we aren't the most organised, and we might send something the week before because we're just still fuming or still ticking over from the last round, but they do their best efforts a couple of days out from the event after a weekend to give us an answer on something. Some things we might not agree on, some things we do, but I feel like the communication channel is really wide open with those guys, and I think that's probably the best from that Motorsport Australia side, and then it's ever been probably in the category for the last 10 years that I've been in it. So, from that point of view, it's good. There's obviously so much other stuff we'd love to be doing and getting involved in, but that's probably a chat for another day.
Fair enough. Just Shane, just on that quickly, your thoughts. I mean, you're obviously heading off now, but having someone like Chaz to be able to be the voice for the driving group and how important that is.
Yeah, well, it's not it's not an individual voice. We started with 4 guys who are more senior, and we had chats with Supercars and Motorsport Australia. And admittedly, the Supercars one isn't very good, but Motorsport Australia has been amazing to deal with. James and his team, everything we ask for, they listen to, and then they respond. They can fix it or they can't, or it's a thing in the future. And I think it's been a huge step up this year. So, hopefully it continues, and keep having a voice for the drivers, because it's important.
Cool. Last call, journos. All right. Happy Friday, everybody, and see you tomorrow.